Anyway, this is your CIA spook in Seattle, Operations Officer Windfall. For those that are interested in world history, particularly United States history, one thing that happened that, well, has been a very closely held secret is that the United States surrendered to the Soviet Union in 1947. Totally capitulated. Yeah, it was because the Soviets had developed a method to, threaten the United States, which could not be countered. I once had a sparring partner when I was younger, who developed a technique to attack me that I could not defend against unless I was willing to take lots of heat. Well, the United States wasn't willing to take lots of heat, and the government surrendered. Literally, Truman capitulated. Now, that could be a problem. The United States surrenders to the Soviet Union after defeating Germany and, of course, Japan in World War II. Now, here comes the big question. Why didn't anyone know? Why was it not broadcast? The United States surrenders to the Russians. We're all fucking communists now. Well, you know why? We have the right to bear arms, or at least we did, and we still do, sort of, if you're willing to use them. And the Soviets, and of course Stalin, was very well aware that all the crazies in the world that had guns would not even think about what would happen if they all got their guns and went out to the hills and started firing at the government, and the government would fire back and all hell break loose. So the Soviets realized that, well, if we want to preserve our prize, we have to allow the Americans sort of like freedom to act on their own behalf, at least they appear to. So the United States government stayed intact, but they were controlled by the Soviets, who were in fact controlled by somebody else. Now, who was that other agency? Well, that's the ministry. The ministry's job, of course, is to improve the human race. And they did. They improved the human race massively, irrevocably. Anyway, now here's the thing that you must realize if you even care. Most of you don't care because the caring aspect of your psyche has been bred out of you. You are not curious. All you're interested in is fucking and eating, and not necessarily in that order. So, what happens is, since this secret was known to few, but still some, it had to be talked about. It had to be discussed. But it could not be discussed in the open like it is now. See, I'm discussing this in the open because I can. You know why? Because guess who invented the ministry? Me. I did. I invented the ministry. That was my work back in the old days. Now, currently I'm doing something different. I'm working for the CIA. And also the Lord. But how is things talked about? How is the terrible circumstance of the United States becoming a puppet of the Soviet Union, and after that a puppet of the ministry? How is that talked about? Well, it's talked about in code, of course. And where does the code lie? It lies in popular culture. Right? It lies in films. It lies in books, but mostly it lies in films and music. If you listen to music, you listen to the lyrics, pay attention. If you watch films, pay attention. Pay attention to what's being said. Look for indicators. Look for coded messages. It's there. Once you learn, well, you can't escape it. You hear it everywhere. You know it everywhere. It's all there. Every song you make, every step you take. You'll be watching you and watching them and discussing the problem. Can't do anything about it because they have the keys to the nuclear arsenal. And they are not ashamed to say that they will blow the fuck out of the country rather than surrender it back to the rightful owners, i.e. the Americans. So, listen to code. Listen to the film. The reason I know it is because I went to school. I went to several schools, actually. So, I just had to say that because some people still are not stupefied. There was a popular comic strip called Little Abner. Great film. I mean, great comic book. Great comic strip, I have to say. Little Abner. Now, if you watch Little Abner, there's actually a film called Little Abner. But if you look at the comic strip, you look at the words, look at the storyline, you will see in that very, very simple lifestyle of hillbillies and their relationship to the government. And this, of course, is in the 1940s, 1950s, 1960s. And you will see yourself that the United States knows it's been tamed. You know, they tamed the tiger. They bought the tiger, they caged the tiger, and the tiger was there for them to look at anytime they wanted to. And also we paid massively. We paid reparations. We paid reparations to the Soviets for all the misdeeds we did, all the capitalistic bullshit we put them through, you know, robbing them and stealing them, you know, making them pay for, well, what is it, land lease? Anyway, that's the thing. Just look at film, look at songs. Now, for instance, if you want to look at a really interesting recent film, look at American Pie. And also listen to the nice and wonderful and glorious tune American Pie by Don McLean. Now look at this, think of his name, McLean. You know, where does the CIA sometimes have offices? In McLean, Virginia. Anyway, and who is Don? Well, it's not Donald Duck. But anyway, just think about those things. Now you have to think about those things because you want to participate in the freedom of this country, which may or may not occur anytime soon. And then you have to kind of like get educated. You have to learn the ropes. You have to learn how to do things. You have to learn how to participate. And then once you learn how to participate, you can be part of the solution rather than part of the problem. So anyway, I know I'm talking hillbilly style, but that's good because hillbillies saved the fucking United States from being utterly and completely enslaved. All them hillbillies with Colt 45s and revolvers and long guns, and some of them had submachine guns. You know, they brought back from World War II. They saved the United States. You know why? Because all those fucking guns was a threat to the Soviets. They could not harness, they could not enslave the United States while all these motherfuckers had guns and were willing to use them. Now, of course, now things have changed. People aren't happy. They still have guns, but they're not willing to use them. No one's willing to risk their sorry ass, their ability to fuck and eat. If they have to use a gun, they'd be afraid they'd go to prison. And they wouldn't be able to fuck and eat. And if they have to fuck and eat, well, somebody's going to tell them what to fuck and what to eat. So anyway, this is the thing. Remember, in today's world, you must either be with us or against us. Now, I'm sort of neutral. I'm the devil, of course. I am Satan. I am Lucifer. And also I work for the CIA, which of course makes me double damned. Or double good, I don't know. I'm really juicy though, yeah. You know how juicy I am? Oh God, when I see a nice chick, I just like want to go hump her, you know. But I don't do that. I don't go around fucking chicks. I know, I just look at them. But I am going to get married pretty soon. This has been foretold to me by people that know. But anyway, remember, the United States in 1947, very, very close to the time when Truman signed the National Security Act of 1947 that created the CIA, on board an aircraft no less. The United States capitulated to the Soviet Union because the Soviet Union had developed a weapon, a secret design, which I provided them, by the way, for the purposes of making the ministry possible. So that they basically owned the United States. They got the code, they got the instruments that they could use to make sure that they had control of the United States nuclear arsenal from then on. From then until right this fucking second. So anyway, of course, there was a time when President Obama did lose the cookie. Or no, the biscuit. He lost the biscuit. Which is kind of like a little credit card that has the codes on it. But that doesn't really mean anything because those codes don't mean shit. They really don't mean shit. So anyway, I gotta go do something. There's something I gotta do. I gotta go do something. I gotta look for a certain type of tactical nuclear weapon that evidently was lost in the 60s deliberately by the Army National Guard of the state of Ohio under Rhodes, Governor Rhodes. That sneaky motherfucker decided that he was going to save the fucking United States from enslavement by stealing a fucking tactical nuclear weapon, which was a really bad idea. I told him so, but he didn't care. Well, anyway, that's the way it is. Today is Easter. I'm in Seattle, or I usually am. I'm on the corner of Denny and First Avenue. And I hope you had a nice Easter. If you went to Mass, that was good. If you didn't, you're going to be going to hell, straight to hell. And I got to go. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.